Channel 9, we get phone calls all the time from people who say, hey, I've been scammed by somebody. My money's gone. You've seen some of those cases in our troubleshooter pieces, but now we're dedicating a whole week to helping you tackle just this sort of problem. We're calling it Deception Prevention Week. Today we're speaking with Assistant County Attorney Joe Gonzalez on the topic of real estate transactions. And Joe, thanks for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me.
We start with a term called contracts for deed. It's an important term. What does it mean? What is it about?
Well, generally what a contract for deed is, it's a written instrument that's used by a seller of property to convey property to a buyer. It's compared in many situations to a for sale by owner type of situation, except that the seller is actually financing the deal and setting out the terms of the payments.
Okay, and some owners, some sellers are honest, others aren't. What are the problems we run into?
Well, there's numerous problems. I mean, generally, I think a lot of individuals get into this type of situation because they aren't qualifying for the mortgage loan that they're applying for.
Oh, okay.
So if they want to get a home, often they're forced into this type of situations in entering into a contract for deed.
Okay, so
of course, when you do that,
okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Of course, when you do that, you also circumvent all the protections that go along with setting up.
Right. So this is for homes. It could be for a building. Could it be for raw land also?
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, historically, deeds of trust were being misused by colonia developers. So I'd say about 15 years ago, the Texas legislature started enacting laws to provide additional protections for those individuals that were using those contracts for deeds.
Why are so many potential buyers taken in by what seems like a risky process?
Right. Well, they're the individuals that want to buy a home, and like I mentioned, they're either not qualifying for the loan, and it's a lot simpler, quite frankly, to enter into a contract of deed rather than go through the whole mortgage loan process.
Or they have to hire a real estate agent if they're going to do it properly, right? And then you pay that agent a certain percentage, was it 3%, 6%, something like that?
Right, plus you go through the title company who checks on the title to the property, because one of the many dangers is that at least you think you're purchasing a piece of property from an owner who you think is the owner and has title, but often the case that's not true. I mean, sometimes they don't have title, or there's encumbrances on the property.
And oftentimes, are you paying the whole amount, or what? Not just a down payment. You're not taking a mortgage out on these things.
Generally, what we've seen is these contracts are set up so they pay a large amount up front, and then they make monthly payments. Well, the problems with that is that they stop making the payments. For example, the other individual, the seller, can default on the note quite easily rather than going through the foreclosure process and basically take the land back.
And what do you know? You try to find the seller again. They're nowhere. They've vanished.
And even in a situation where the seller or the buyer is making his payments, sometimes the seller is not making those payments to the mortgage company if he still hasn't paid off.
So your advice then, go ahead and get a real estate agent, do it the right way, don't take shortcuts.
If you're going to enter into that type of situation, the advice is always go to a real estate attorney so that they can advise you about the changes in the law. You can go to the Attorney General's office or the county attorneys, and we'll advise you on the law and what things to look for.
Joe Gonzalez, Assistant County Attorney, thanks for being our guest.
Appreciate it.
Very helpful information.
Thank you.
Next, our online media producer, Bianca Cervantes, looks at what's